Have you ever caught yourself judging yourself for just having an emotion? I just last night realized how much I am doing this to myself. I can't believe it. When I have negative emotions like anger or shame or sadness, not only am I having that negative emotion, and that actually seems to be somewhat fine and enjoyable, the time that it gets unenjoyable is when I put this layer of judgment on it and blame and shame for myself, and I start freaking out that I'm having this emotion because it's not spiritual, or it's not positive, or it's not going to help and serve the world for me to be sad and angry and lonely and upset. Last night I walked out of a restaurant in Fort Collins, Old Town, and it was a beautiful night. The moon is bright, it's really warm, we're all wearing flip-flops and shorts. And I was throwing away a piece of garbage in the trash, and all of a sudden these two guys come up to me, these two very particular characters walk up to me, and so between the trash can and the two guys I felt really kind of cornered and accosted was really the first feeling before they even said anything. But what they said to me was, "Do you think you're a good person?" And they started in on trying to tell me about their beliefs in a way that was really challenging and confronting my own. Now, these two characters were people that it's not very spiritual to judge. One of them was this nice, sweet old man with a little white scruffy beard and shorts and glasses, and a very, in other situations, cute older gentleman. And the other one was this adorable younger man. He was visibly, physically, I could see he was disabled, and he had a white cane in his pocket here, so I knew he was blind as well. So maybe that's why he was standing so close to me, so that he could see me. But either way, I felt very afraid that this was going to be a confrontational situation. And then their questions started in on me. And these questions were meant to be confrontational and challenging, but I was just sort of trying to stay in my space. I wasn't going to get into a big debate with them, and I really just wanted to hear what they had to say, because clearly they wanted to tell someone what they wanted to say. So as I'm listening, the older man is actually egging on the younger man. When I don't respond, he is jumping in with, "How would you respond to this? And how would you respond to that?" And the younger man isn't talking back to the older man, he's talking back to me as if I had challenged him. Not only am I feeling, accosted by them, but I'm also feeling like this is such a beautiful relationship between mentor and mentee, and he's taken this guy under his wing, and they're out on a Friday night just proclaiming their beliefs. It was also kind of beautiful. And of course, my heart is going out to this man whose beliefs have clearly just empowered him through a disability, through blindness. And I'm like, wow, good for you. This is amazing. So I'm very also inspired at the same time. And then I'm starting to have this rapport with the older gentleman where he kind of knows where I'm coming from. He knows I'm not going to debate or anything anymore. So I'm just having this nice, sort of father-daughter feeling with this older man. It was way too much for me to process. And this polarity just kept happening. I couldn't decide which road to go down. I clearly knew that the more spiritual road was to appreciate him, but I couldn't help feeling that my space was being invaded by these two men. So what I realized in all that is that it was perfectly fine to feel all of those emotions at once. And so many times that I'm realizing just how many, I don't just have one emotion at once. I have a range of emotions, a whole gamut, a whole ball of emotions that happen all at once. And it can be really hard to articulate that. It can feel really frustrating to try to take this huge ball and somehow get it out of my mouth, get it out of my eyes, get it written down in a nice sentence that I can put on Facebook or I can write in my journal. And what stops me every time is putting that layer of judgment, putting that layer of story, definitely a layer of blame. That's not spiritual for you to feel that way. As I was walking away from these gentlemen that night, after having given both of them a hug and having told them I really appreciate that we live in a society where we can talk about spirituality on a street corner on a Friday night and nobody gets shot. So we hugged and I walked off, and it was just, for once, too much for me to process and decide what it meant. I just had to feel those feelings, and luckily I had some space and some time as I walked the 4 blocks to my car to just feel that. The next time that something big or small happens and you suspect that you might have more than one feeling about it, just check into that. See if you can just feel those feelings without any judgment, without getting down on yourself that you don't know how this fits in the story of your day, or you can't figure out how to maybe tell this to someone else. Just see if you can feel all those feelings at once. It felt really good for me. I hope it feels good for you. Thanks, you guys, for watching.